Bonjour, Émilie Talpin, OM System Ambassador. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I thought we could talk about the announcement from OM System with their new Tough TG7 camera. So let's get started. As you know, I use the OM1 and the OM5 as my main camera, but I also like to carry the Tough TG6. I love this camera because it is super compact and really, tough. Yes, it's tough, hence the name. You can just drop it on the ground and this camera will really take a beating. It's excellent and I love to use it for underwater shot. It is really a fun camera to take when you're out with your family. If you have kids, you can give them this camera. It's a great starter camera. But I also know some people who really use it for water photography because it's just convenient. So this is the Tough TG6 and OM System just announced the release of the Tough TG7. I do not have it with me, but I have already ordered it, so I'm going to do a more complete review once I have it. So this video is talking about spec and having a discussion with you to see what you think of this camera. I know a couple of people already reached out to me to talk about the camera, especially if you do not have a camera right now, you only have a phone and you're thinking, hey, should I get an action cam or should I get the Tough TG7? In my opinion, if you're thinking of doing photography at the same time as needing an action camera, it's a no-brainer. Get the TG7 because it's packed with features. If you're a photographer, that will really help you out. You will not find any of those features on an action camera. So I would say go with the Tough TG7. If you only want an action camera, then that's a different discussion. But for photographers, I think that's really the way to go. And so here are a couple of specs that they already gave us with this camera. First of all, it is very, very small. They did do a redesign, so it's going to look a little bit different than the Tough TG6, especially with the grip. I'm really, really excited about the design. I think it looks great. I can't wait to try that grip. I think it will really be a good improvement from the current camera, and it's also really, really light. It's only 249 grams, which makes it super easy to carry in your pocket. I do carry my OM5 in my pocket, especially with the 25mm on, but the TG7, it's a fixed lens. It's integrated, it's a f.2 lens, so you've got plenty of light coming in. So this camera, you just put it in your pocket without thinking about it, lighter than the OM5, and I can't put the OM5 in a river. Well, actually I kind of did put the OM5 in a river a couple of days ago. That's the footage if you want to see it. I better laugh about it. It happened. My camera is completely fine. I don't know how, but it is. I think it actually went against the rock a little bit. My thumb is not fine. I should probably have it checked. But yeah, I was recording a project for OM System and that happened. But the OM5 is not made to go in the river. I'm not made to go in the river, but the Tough camera line is made to take a beating because it is waterproof up to 50 feet. It is also shockproof, which I need because I am so clumsy. So this is a great camera. It's probably going to be on the ground a couple of times and just give me peace of mind. It is also freeze-proof and dust-proof, and it has one of the highest rating of the industry in terms of sustaining weather element. So you know that with an OM System camera, you're not going to have a problem when you are outdoor, which is what I want to do. I want to go outside, take pictures, and not think about what will happen to my camera because it's raining, because it's so cold in New Hampshire. And yes, peace of mind. Now, it is a 12 megapixel sensor, so it's the same sensor as you had on the TG6, and they also use the same processor, so there's not that much of a change in this domain. If you're a photographer, you can do RAW and JPEG, again, no changes, but they actually put quite a lot of improvements, and some improvement that I was looking at a couple of videos online, and they didn't really touch on one of the very interesting thing that they put on this camera. First of all, there are tons of scene mode that you can change. So on the Tough TG6, you have a scene mode. You will have the same, the panel at the back here, the buttons look exactly the same. And what they added is actually a construction mode. I think the construction mode has a lot of potential with nature photography as well. So that's why I'm getting it, and I'm gonna test it out, because I think this camera might be a great camera for the people who are outdoorsy but also work in construction. But I don't work in construction. I still think that I really like the fact that this camera will eliminate the dust on the lens, or if it's raining, so I can see some use in my nature photography. But I'll keep you posted on that once I get my own OM system, Tough TG7. Another feature that they added that I think is really a good addition is the fact that I can use my wireless remote control. So I can position that camera and then set it from further. So I think that's going to be helpful for me. And you can also use Pro Capture. This is so cool. So I'll be able to just photograph and not limit my shot because my buffer is full. Just continue when I capture the action that I want, because it's an action cam. So I need to be able to capture the action when it happened, but sometimes I don't know it's going to happen. So yes, if I have a person who is coming on a kayak or on a raft and I can't see them coming, I just can click, 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 and then Pro Capture is really magic. It's like going back into the past and grabbing those images. So I'm very excited that Pro Capture is on the TG7. I use it on my OM5, I use it on my OM1, and I will also use it on the Tough TG7. Also, they added an interval shooting priority. That means that when you're doing a time lapse and when your exposure changes, it will actually change it for you. Because sometimes when you're in nature, you're going to have the sun and then it's going to be a cloud coming, and so this will mess up a time lapse. And talking about video time lapse, you can also do 4K on this camera, up to 30 frames, but you can also do slow-mo, but not in 4K. Also, it's an action camera, so a cool thing that you can do with the TG7 is that it has GPS tracking. So it records all the data. You can also record the barometer pressure, the temperature. This is really cool. So when you export your photo using the OIS app, you can just export all the data with the photo. So if that's something that's important to you, some action cams are doing that, then you can do it with the TG7. And then macro photography, I love that. Sometimes I don't want to take, you know, my big camera, I'm going on a small hike, or I'm going to be biking, or I'm going to go in a location where I'm going to be okay with just a point and shoot camera. And the TG7, like its predecessor, the TG6, has amazing macro features, and that's why I think it's a better option for photographers than an action cam, because you can do focus stacking, you could do bracketing. It's a 4x magnification. I mean, it's huge, and it focuses a centimeter away from your subject. That's one thing that I love, love, love. I mean, the macro feature, the water feature, amazing on the Tough TG7. And the camera has been put on the market for $549. This is actually pretty good for all the features that you're getting, and especially the new AI that they're putting on the camera. As I said, I cannot wait to try that construction mode because I think I'm going to be able to use it and do some really cool things with it. And it probably will save a few of my images, so I can't wait to try it. Oh, and also they put a USB-C, so faster connection. I'm really excited about the USB-C though. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's nice to see that they decided to put it in this camera. Now, for this week, I thought we could talk about this new release. What do you think of the TG7? Is it a camera that you are going to order? Is this a camera that has some features that interest you? Let me know in the comment, and it would be a good discussion until I get it in my hands and I can do a proper review. But I thought for today, why not addressing this release and see what you're thinking about it. Maybe you've seen other reviews. Couple of camera stores already had the TG7 in hand and they did some pretty great reviews. Very, very excited to get it. And yes, again, thank you so much for all your support. If you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when my videos are coming out. And right now, I think I'm gonna go and do a little bit more macro photos outside. We've been waiting for this hurricane on the East Coast that was supposed to come. It definitely did not come to the White Mountains. So a lot of people were, worried about it. So happy that there was no damage because of the storm, and I hope that's the case where you are as well. And a little thought for all the people in Nova Scotia who are gonna get hit by the tropical storm Lee. So I hope, don't go out, even if you have the Tough TG6 to go and take photos. Be mindful, because the wind is supposed to be pretty bad. Now, that said, have a great weekend, happy shooting, and I will see you next week. Au revoir.